Antonio starts right now.
Hey there, good morning. It is Wednesday. It is August 26th. And back in March, when all of this was starting to go down pandemic-wise, it was Tiger King to the rescue on Netflix. It was all over the place. It was all anybody could talk about for, it seems like, the rest of March.
Even in people who didn't watch the show knew exactly what Tiger King was all about.
Right. And Tiger King has now, of course, disappeared from the Netflix top 10, and the debates have cooled over who the real villain of the show is. And you may remember back right here on GMSA 9, we talked at length about several smart studios and television networks that were thinking about kind of parlaying the success of the Netflix show and creating their own series. Yeah,
they're looking to continue, but in a different way. So SNL's Kate McKinnon is ready to reignite the Tiger King infatuation. The comedian's upcoming Joe Exotic series just received a multi-platform order at NBC, Peacock, and USA Network. Variety is reporting that right now.
In McKinnon's take on Tiger King, she'll play Carol Baskin, the big cat enthusiast who makes it her life's mission to end Exotic's business of breeding and profiting from big cats. But of course, Carol has a checkered past of her own, and the claws come out. Joe will stop at nothing to expose what he sees as her hypocrisy.
It's very interesting. The series, which is based on the podcast of the same name, also added Ethan Frankel as a writer and executive producer. So Frankel, the playwright producer, has worked on Friday Night Lights, Shameless, and Animal Kingdom, and Get Shorty.
He has some hits there to his name for his writing credits. The series has yet to cast its perfect Joe Exotic, but we already know one actor set to star as Mr. Exotic in another scripted series in the works over at CBS, and that would be Mr.
Nicolas Cage.
That's right. So we already knew about that, but we didn't know about Kate McKinnon's project for NBC and Peacock.
Right, but Nicolas Cage would make a tall Tiger King. I think Joe Exotic's a little shorter. I don't know.
I think
that's
you're
just
right.
my take.
height doesn't matter here. We're just looking for a different brand of crazy.
The character. Oh yeah, different brand of crazy. Let's take a look at your GMSA rundown.
Growing stronger, taking aim at the Gulf Coast, expected to make landfall as a major Category 3 storm.
16 more people have died from COVID-19 here in San Antonio. Metro Health also reports 124 new cases of the virus in our community. Hospitalization rates are slowly continuing to decline.
The CDC is out with surprising new guidelines when it comes to who should get tested.
It does limit the ability to contact trace and really isolate and clamp down on these potential cases before they spread to a larger population.
Island Express Helicopters, the company that operated the chopper that crashed and killed NBA star Kobe Bryant in January, is suing the Federal Aviation Administration for failing to terminate radar services for the helicopter's pilot.
The city of New Orleans is suing the developers of the Hard Rock Hotel over last year's deadly collapse. 3 construction workers were killed. Greece, a little girl drifted from shore and her parents while sitting on a giant floaty. She ended up drifting half a mile from the beach. Thankfully, a ferry was passing by and was able to rescue her.
Roomba robot vacuum cleaners are getting a lot smarter thanks to a software upgrade. Now users can specify what areas they want cleaned and what they don't.
General Mills, which makes Lucky Charms, will be selling pouches of the famous marshmallows as a limited time item beginning in September.
Mia Villa is delivering more than 1,000 chocolate chip cookies to hospital and supermarket workers and fire and police departments.
Her mom helps with the baking. Mia has been working on the recipe since she was 18 months old.
National Dog Day. To celebrate, we're taking a trip down the internet's Howl of Fame. From Jif Pom, who starred in a Katy Perry video, Doug the Pug, who might seem basic at first, but his celeb squad includes Joe Jonas, Shakira, who can forget Menswear Dog, who's taking a big bite out of the four-legged fashion scene.
Menswear Dog.
Wow.
Fancy.
Never thought about Truman and like the 3/4 knit, the zip up and the parka and everything. A little warm for that though right now for any dogs on National Dog Day.
Well, if you hold up the right treat, maybe you can get the right picture.
Trust me, he can be easily bribed.
It'll be interesting to see the results.
That's right. But it's a good day to celebrate our dogs, and a lot of people out there treat their dogs like one of the family, and for good reason.
Well, yeah, they are. My Gordo's one of the family. We'll be giving him an extra treat today.
Yeah, there you go. Van's best friend.
Right.
Right.
85 degrees. Good morning, everybody. We've got a lot to talk about, including, of course, Hurricane Laura, which has been rapidly intensifying overnight and early this morning, up to Category 3 hurricane status at this moment. We've got team coverage. Justin Horn is in Southeast Texas, and we're going to check in with him later in this newscast and talk a lot more about what Laura means for parts of Texas and Louisiana tonight and into tomorrow. But first, your pollen count here at home. Mold continues its slow decline. It's moderate today with a count of 850. And pigweed is low. Today we're looking at a high temperature in the mid to upper 90s. We've got a 30% chance of some isolated showers. The circulation around Laura should toss us some isolated showers and non-severe storms during the day today. Best chances east of 35, but I can't rule out a little shower in and around San Antonio. So we'll talk more about your local forecast and Hurricane Laura coming up in just a bit. Guys.
Sounds good, Katie. Thank you. Taking a look out at TransGuide at 35 and Loop 410. Things coming to a pretty good slowdown there. We will keep you updated when we find out what's causing that traffic. Slowdown
looks like it's on the northbound lanes of 35 there at 410 on the northeast side. Looks like it goes on for quite a while. Top stories we're following for you today right here on KSAT 12. A man is in the hospital after he was shot in the stomach while police say he was sleeping near the doorway of a 99-cent only store on the city's east side.
Police tell us it happened in the 1800 block of South W.W. White Road. That's not far from Rigsby Avenue. Police tell us employees were arriving for work when they saw the victim sleeping on the ground. That's when police say they tried to get the man to leave, but he told them he had been shot. Surveillance video showed a dark-colored Suburban making several passes through the parking lot before a man got out and shot the victim around 1:30 this morning.
Police say the man had been lying on the ground with a gunshot wound for at least 2 hours before he was taken to a local hospital. Police are still looking for suspects at this hour. There is a public visitation for a U.S. Marine from New Braunfels who died last month during a training mission off the coast of Southern California.
Lance Corporal Guillermo Perez was one of 9 Marines who died in the incident. Today's visitation started at 8 this morning, and that will last until 5 this evening at the Zoller Funeral Home. That is off of Landis Street in New Braunfels.
That is, his funeral will be tomorrow morning.
Happening today, Governor Greg Abbott will be giving an update on the state's response to Hurricane Laura. The conference is expected to start at noon. We will be live streaming it on our website. Be sure to tune in to the news at noon for the latest updates. And today at 2 p.m. this afternoon, we will be holding a virtual town hall focused on mental health. It is the latest KSAT community event. The pandemic has taken a toll on mental health, especially for anyone dealing with the loss of loved ones. The town hall will feature a panel of experts who will answer questions live. Again, that's today from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on KSAT.com.
And a reminder, the Red Cross is in need of volunteers. Our KSAT community partners are teaming up with the Red Cross to get the word out. They're currently looking for upwards of 160 volunteers. You can fill out an application for volunteering online. We have all that information on the KSAT community section of our website. In your morning headlines, there's now been a deadly shooting during those violent protests up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And an officer got hit by his own vehicle.
And turning up torn trees into treasure and a bull on the loose. Our David Sears is here. Good morning.
So is it a real bull or is it just kind of the bull we talk every now and then?
We're waiting to find out.
Could it be both?
Could be. We'll get that for you in just a second. But first, let's start with that violence in Kenosha. It has now reached a deadly level after last night. There was a shooting during the rioting. 2 people shot dead, another wounded and taken to the local hospital with serious injuries. Kenosha police are investigating. They are trying to figure out if the shooting was between protesters and those who were armed trying to protect their property from being burned or vandalized. The violent protest started a couple of nights ago after Jacob Blake was shot by police and, according to his dad, partially paralyzed. That investigation is ongoing. The 2 officers involved in that shooting have been placed on leave. All right, this is some disturbing video, so you may want to look away for a second. I'll tell you, nobody was seriously injured, though. Here it is, Georgia police officer talking to a suspect behind her car after he pulled her over for speeding and DWI possibility. Then look out. Wow. A driver slams into the officer's SUV. The officer gets nailed by his own vehicle, knocked to the ground. The suspect ended up over the guardrail. The officer on the ground in some pain, but once again, both that officer and the suspect taken to the hospital, neither with serious injuries. This happened on I-285 near Atlanta. The police released a video as a reminder that you're supposed to slow down if you are in the lane next to the scene or you move over a lane when passing a scene like this. That's why you always hear our own officers, Officer Trujillo and Solis, remind you of that law. That is what can happen when you do not pay attention. Ooh, they're lucky. Thank goodness they're all right. All right, so remember those bad storms that blew through Iowa a couple of weeks ago? Derecho, I think I got that right. Katie Blake was trying to tell me how to say that out. Out of the debris comes a work of art. This is Clint Hennick. He is a chainsaw artist. He's working on a tree that was damaged from the storm. There was a branch sticking up, so he decided with a little work and some creativity, he could turn it into the mascot of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Harky the Hawk. And there you go. That's a pretty good job right there. All right, now you're looking at a 4.5-ton bronze sculpture of a gorilla. His name is King Yayani. He was brought to New York by the New York City Parks Department. The idea is to bring awareness to endangered animals and enjoy a little fun with a gorilla, put a smile on your face. He's actually from Australia. Even though he is 4.5 tons, he's a friendly gorilla with open arms. They're about 3 feet wide.
This is not King Kong, this is King Nyani, but he is the new King Kong of New York City. Not a gorilla to be scared of, but a gorilla to really embrace and bring happiness to the city.
Apparently he didn't climb too many buildings. Who knew a Silver Mountain gorilla could be so nice? And finally, this story ain't no bull. Well, really, it's full of bull. Out for his nightly stroll in a Florida neighborhood. The police tried to round him up, didn't work, so they told people in the area to stay in their house until they could get a professional to come out and help them round up the bull. Don't know where the bull came from, don't know how he got into the neighborhood, and apparently they needed a real bullfighter to come out there and get the bull.
Just proves that there's a little bit of bull in every state in the union.
There is.
Including Florida.
Have more than
my
others.
Goodness.
I think. Hey, back to the King Kong. He's over there at Hudson Yards in New York. At least they didn't, somebody get tongue-in-cheek and put him at the base of the Empire State Building.
Well, that's, they could have leaned him up against them.
Right, it would have worked. Thank you, David.
But his pose, he was kind of like resting.
Yeah, it doesn't look very threatening, does it?
No.
Nah. Calm gorilla.
9:09, 85 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA at 9.
And as we head into the third night of the RNC, CNN's Karen Kafa joins us live to tell us what themes to look out for and who tonight's major speakers will be. That's still ahead in our next half hour.
A young girl's dream to make a difference coming true. Still ahead on GMSA at 9. How her big dream is helping raise money in the fight against Parkinson's disease.
And still ahead at GMSA at 9, a 4-year-old sinks an ace shot and a woodworker builds a full-service squirrel bar. That's coming up next in today's Take a Look at This.
For those of you who've been working on your golf game for years, you're going to find viral videos of a 4-year-old's impressive tee shot, either amazing or absolutely infuriating.
Or cute.
I added an extra syllable there. Right? Infuriating.
That's right.
Yeah.
CNN's Jeremy Roth has that story and more in today's Take a Look at This.
Watching this 4-year-old West Virginia golfer nail a hole-in-one is so enjoyable, I'm just going to shut up and let you enjoy it.
What? Rocco, you just hit a hole-in-one.
Mario Figueretti's son, Rocco, has been practicing since he was 3, which doesn't necessarily explain the inexplicable ace shot. I mean, I've sunk 20 years into this game. I've never hit a hole-in-one. But, whatever. Good for Rocco. Yeah, you did, pal. Figueretti, who got the amazing shot on video, shared it online, and of course, it quickly went viral. In his post, the Happy Pappy wrote, "To say I'm proud would be an understatement." Think that's nuts? Check out this custom-made treetop nut bar that allows squirrels to prodigiously pound peanuts, pecans, pistachios, and plenty more to their furry little heart's content. The Nutty Bar is the brainchild of woodworker Duke Harmon, who came up with the idea after he got tired of squirrels stealing his birdseed.
Let's give him somewhere to go. Let's build him a squirrel bar.
Harmon shared his meticulous building process on YouTube, which resulted in one shell of a nice nut bar that allows the crafty critters to belly up and chow down on a wide array of salty snacks.
Business is absolutely booming.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Nice custom woodwork. You know how many of those he could sell if he decided he wanted to make a business out of that?
Probably quite a bit.
Do very well. And back to the kid with the amazing tee shot. You know what sold it there? He's got a great swing, but it was the fact that he's wearing those Crocs.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was his reaction.
It was Crocs. I love the writing in there for Jeremy. He said the Happy Pappy.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of looking at disbelief. Yeah.
It's like, then what? And what did he say to his dad? Yeah, I actually did it.
Yeah, I actually did it. Like, no big deal. Good for him.
Kate,
for him.
You should try it sometime.
I know, right? Yeah, but he did have a great swing.
Yes.
Well, that is a big old storm over your left shoulder there, Katie Blake.
Yes, Laura has really intensified overnight and early this morning, all the way up to Category 3 hurricane status, and it's expected to maybe even intensify a little bit more during the day today. Not exactly what you want to see. We're really thinking of our friends in Far East Texas and over on Louisiana as well. I believe we're going to start off, though, before we get into Laura, with our junior meteorologist.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
This is Miley. Miley, take it away.
Hi, I'm Miley, taking over for Justin. Today's weather is going to be in the 90s, so stay hydrated and stay cool. And stay home and stay safe. Bye.
Good job, ma'am. Miley starting second grade this year.
Congratulations, Miley.
Awesome
Good
job.
luck with second grade.
Yes. Enjoy. Have fun. Now, let's get into what's going on with Laura. Latest stats from the Hurricane Center as of 7 a.m. Category 3 hurricane with maximum sustained winds up to 115 miles per hour. And again, Laura could become a Category 4 storm later this afternoon. That would put winds around 130 miles per hour. Really, if you're looking for some good news, there's not a whole lot of it here, but Laura expected to drop down a little bit as it makes landfall late tonight as a Category 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour. Then as we get into Thursday and Friday, Laura will continue to weaken, but slinging some moisture across the eastern portion of the country. Hurricane warnings, of course, posted from just east of Houston all the way over through Lake Charles there along the I-10 corridor. And this is just not what you want to see anywhere. I mean, Category 3 hurricane landfalling is going to cause big issues in terms of flooding, in terms of storm surge, and also in terms of wind. So here's the very latest wind forecast. Anywhere you see the yellow and the orange, those are tropical storm force winds. You get into the red, that's hurricane force winds. So even by this afternoon, we're looking at tropical storm force winds coming ashore there in South Louisiana over to Beaumont, Sabine Pass there as we get into tonight. And then that red color, the hurricane force winds moving in overnight tonight. So to make matters worse, this is going to be a landfalling hurricane overnight. So, you know, the dark and everything like that is going to make things so much worse for these folks in Far East Texas and western Louisiana. Hurricane force winds moving through Lake Charles up to the north there. By tomorrow afternoon, the system will be much weaker, but still looking at some lingering tropical storm force winds into North Louisiana by tomorrow afternoon. In terms of rainfall, this will be a big deal. We're looking at anywhere between 7 to 10 inches of rain in some spots where you see this, not the bright orange color, but the one just next to it there, maybe even upwards of 10 inches of rain there just off the coast. And even as Laura continues to move inland as we get into Friday morning, still several inches of rain possible all the way up through Arkansas. So Arkansas won't have to deal with the storm surge or anything like that, but they're still looking at some winds and also some potentially flooding rain as we get into late tomorrow and early on Friday. Back here at home, not so much to talk about in terms of rainfall. I think our far eastern counties could pick up maybe close to a half inch to an inch of rain through Friday morning, but most of us probably won't see much of any rain over the next couple of days, but we could see maybe a couple of isolated showers here or there. But overall, we're not going to see any rainfall that will help with the drought situation or anything like that. 85 at the airport right now. It is plenty humid out there. We've got a dew point just shy of 70 degrees. Calm winds, so it's feeling pretty heavy out there this morning. We do have some showers, though, that have been pacing in from the east. These are being steered our direction from the wind flow around Laura. These aren't technically the outer bands of Laura, but Laura's helping to sling these showers into some of our easternmost counties, Lavaca County, Hallettsville there, DeWitt County, Cuero. Those showers kind of fizzled out just before they got to you, but we've got some rain moving through Victoria, and that'll be working toward Goliad over the next hour or so. So the trend, not only today, but also tomorrow, will be that our best chance of rain will generally be east of 35 just because the circulation around Laura will help to keep some showers around east of the I-35 corridor the next couple of days. So futurecast showing some hit or miss thunder showers trying to make it to I-35, and it's definitely not out of the question that we go into these little thunder showers to work into the I-35 corridor and San Antonio through early this evening, but by far better chances of showers east of 35 today. As we get into tomorrow, Laura will be moving off to the north and away, but some lingering lift could result in a couple more spotty showers during the day on Thursday. So here's a look at your Wednesday. It'll be hot, high temperature near 97 today, but we will have a chance for those isolated showers and non-severe storms. Whoops, pushed one too many buttons there. As we get into the weekend, rain chances generally fall out of the forecast, and it's staying hot for the time being, guys.
All right, thank you, Katie. And you were talking about this being a mainly nighttime event. I guess the tricky part there is being able to spot debris or keep tabs on storm surge and floodwaters, perhaps?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be, we'll get a good picture tomorrow morning when the sun comes up, but it's just going to be really hard for any first responders trying to get to folks that didn't evacuate or couldn't get out in time. It's
kind of elevates the hazard level a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Katie. 9:21 right now, 85 degrees.
And coming up after the break, the inspiring story of how an 11-year-old girl turned her passion for music into a fundraiser for the Parkinson's Foundation.
Music has been a part of 11-year-old Casey Moore's life since she picked up a violin at the age of 3.
I enjoyed it more and more as I grew older.
And now, as she practices piano every day.
When I practice, it feels like some part of me inside of me gets alive.
Because of the pandemic, she's been able to dedicate more time to her passion at home with family.
I want to learn more.
Her dad, Dr. Henry Moore, is a neurologist at the University of Miami, specializing in movement disorders like Parkinson's disease.
That he helps people that suffer from this terrible disease called Parkinson's, and this disease affects their brain.
She's been fantastic.
Dr. Moore has been spending more time working from his home office, giving Casey a chance to feed her curiosity while her dad remotely cares for his patients.
She was very moved about people, how they were very disabled, and then with the medication they were super happy and so hopeful that this disease will stop.
It really touched my heart, and I wanted to do something to help, but I wasn't sure how.
She added her own flavor to the battle against the life-changing disease, creating a fundraiser, Parkinson. The goal is to use music to raise money and awareness on behalf of the Parkinson's Foundation.
The way how we always have raised her is to think first on others, and that will give you happiness.
Casey's music and kind heart quickly got the attention of some big names.
My friend Gloria Stefan. The dreams that we envision seem to crumble in our heads.
Casey's dad says she's onto something with the healing power of music.
Definitely. And there is music therapy even tested for Parkinson's disease patients, and then it helps.
Despite the ongoing search for a cure, Casey says she hopes Parkinson's patients listening to Parkinson still take something away from the music.
I hope they get a little more cheerful and just a little happier.
One song at a time. In Boca Raton, Chris Gilmore, WPTV News Channel 5.
It's so awesome to see Casey be able to do that.
Much more ahead on GMSA at 9.
And millions of people in Texas and Louisiana are preparing for Hurricane Laura to make landfall. We're going to have a live update from meteorologist Justin Horn with the current conditions in Port Arthur.
Day 2 of the Republican National Convention is wrapped up with the First Lady giving a captivating speech. CNN's Karen Cava joins us live with the message behind it and what to look out for during tonight's convention. That's next. The First Lady and the nation's top diplomat among those making the case for another term for President Donald Trump last night.
CNN's Karen Cava is live in Washington with a recap of the highlights from the second night of the Republican National Convention. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Stephanie and Mark. Last week we were talking a lot about how Democrats at their convention really wanted to paint a picture of a party that welcomes everyone. Well, Republicans are trying to do a little bit of that this week as well, with multiple messages each night aimed at multiple different groups of voters. Last night, First Lady Melania Trump, she was front and center, and her message was aimed at women voters, where Trump lags in the polls. Melania Trump, a reluctant campaigner, making a case for her husband.
Just as you are fighting for your families, my husband, our family, and the people in this administration are here fighting for you.
The First Lady's speech, part of a convention outreach to women voters, particularly in suburban swing districts. Also speaking Tuesday night, making an appeal to young voters, the president's daughter, Tiffany Trump.
My father has made me believe that America can truly be great again.
President Trump again appeared multiple times, including presiding over a naturalization ceremony and announcing the pardon of John Ponder, a convicted bank robber who now works to help the formerly incarcerated reintegrate into society.
John's life is a beautiful testament to the power of redemption.
Another headliner, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who touted Trump's foreign policy record in remarks taped in Jerusalem.
President Trump has put his America First vision into action. It may not have made him popular in every foreign capital, but it's worked.
Pompeo's speech has drawn scrutiny and criticism for its departure from State Department protocol and prompting a House Democrat to look into whether he violated the Hatch Act, which prevents federal employees from engaging in partisan politics while on duty.
And the State Department says that Pompeo was acting in a personal capacity when he delivered those remarks. Looking ahead to tonight, keynote speech will be delivered by Vice President Mike Pence, who is said to still be writing and rewriting his remarks. He's going to make reference to what is currently unfolding in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after the police shooting of Jacob Blake, and will also deliver a speech very steeped in patriotic tones. The theme of tonight's convention is Land of Heroes. Mark and Stephanie, back to you.
All right, CNN's Karen Kafa live in Washington. Thank you, Karen. Have a good rest of your Wednesday.
And taking a look outside with live cam, it is 85 degrees right now. It's getting a little warmer.
It's going to get toasty again this afternoon. I do think you may notice some additional cloud cover working in during the day today, and I can't rule out a little shower as we get into the afternoon hours. Even right now, some of our far easternmost counties are seeing a little bit of rain. There's a nice little band of showers that's been trying to move west over the past couple of hours, starting to lose a bit of its gusto. And generally speaking, today the best chances of rain will be east of the I-35 corridor, but a couple little showers could make it to the I-35 corridor later on this afternoon. Look at your high temperatures west of 35, a couple of spots in the triple digits. We're looking at a high around 97 here in San Antonio. Latest view looking at tropical satellite of Hurricane Laura, now a major hurricane, Category 3, with maximum sustained winds at 115 miles per hour, gusts up to 130. The eye wall of Hurricane Laura about 215 miles away from Port Arthur, Texas, and that is where we find our Justin Horn. Good morning, Justin. So you're in Port Arthur right now. What can you tell us about how people have been preparing for Hurricane Laura this morning?
Hey there, Katie. Yeah, people here are definitely getting ready. Mandatory evacuations here in Port Arthur. And I'm right along the ship channel here. This is a levee that protects the city. And they're going to see some big-time storm surge here. Hopefully it doesn't top this levee. I think the bigger issue here is probably going to be some strong gusty winds as this major hurricane, moves in a little bit later tonight. I want to show you some video from earlier. We were in Beaumont, and this is where they were staging for emergency vehicles, for evacuations, and for help. And we saw places like, or emergency vehicles from places like Schertz and Uvalde and even San Antonio, all here to help out. We also stopped in Port Arthur, where they're shutting down gas stations, starting to shut stuff down. We got some gas and they closed the pumps right after we left. So a lot of people leaving town and heeding those warnings from the mandatory evacuations. Saw some people getting ice as well. We talked to one family, though, that is opting to stay, and they told us one of the reasons is because of COVID. They don't want to be around a bunch of other people in buses and in tight spaces with other people. So that's just one sidebar that sort of complicates this whole thing with this major hurricane moving in. But right now, here in Port Arthur, things are quiet. We suspect that it will pick up quite a bit tonight, and we are planning to move east towards Orange a little bit later, and we'll be bringing you live updates as Laura gets a little bit closer, guys.
Yeah, Justin, it's one thing to cover a hurricane any type of year, but you mentioned the pandemic. Has that changed at all how you guys are covering this storm?
It has, yeah. I mean, obviously we're wearing our masks when we need to, but it does complicate things. And, a lot of the evacuations are complicated by that. The logistics of keeping people distant and still getting them to where they need to be. But for us covering it, yeah, it changes things too. We've been wiping everything down, making sure that we're staying safe as well and keeping our distance when we do interviews and stuff like that, guys.
All right, Justin, you and Billy be safe out there.
Thank you, Justin. Hope to talk to you soon. All right, Katie, Justin, thank you guys. Taking a look, we've got, looks like a multi-vehicle accident now on the left shoulder there at 410 at Cherry Ridge. Appears to be in the westbound lanes of the loop itself. Again, be advised, it looks like we've got some folks out, at least of one car, waiting on police to arrive there at that scene. Well, this is interesting, and we've talked before about dating websites, and there's a new extreme version out, and it is aimed at matching users who are currently 20 or more years apart in age. We're talking about a vast age gap.
Big age gap, and so these are for people who are looking for other people 20 years older or 20 years younger, so it can go either way. So site creator David Mins builds his new matchmaking app, 20 Dating, as the world's first extreme age gap dating site.
Site only matches users with people 20 years younger or older, and photos are optional.
So one of his quotes, he says, trying to connect with someone more than 20 years older or younger on a product like Tinder or Bumble is at best going to end up with a lot of rejection. So he's hoping this will diminish the stigma in dating people significantly older or younger than themselves.
Yeah, again, this app's creator says everyone knows where they stand on 20 dating, and you cannot even take a sneaky look at someone with a 19-year gap. It's like being socially distanced by 20 years.
And there's no swiping on 20 Dating or barriers to communication, meaning the algorithm allows all users with the appropriate age gap to instantly contact one another.
Site's FAQ says if you want to date someone much younger than yourself, then 20 Dating is the best place to be. Finding an 18 or 20-year-old interested in a 40-year-old on a standard dating site could be a real challenge. At 20 Dating, you know everyone is open to a larger age gap. Wow, they really put it out there, don't they?
Right, but here's the breakdown. So the site has a 66% male, 32% female, and 2% transgender ratio breakdown among its few hundred users.
Membership is free, and only an email is required to sign up. And best of luck to you with all of that.
Yep, 20-year age gap. Yeah.
9:38, 85 degrees.
You're watching GMSA at 9. And after the break, oh, look, little baby pygmy hippo's first swim and why her birth at the Metro Richmond Zoo was so special.
Oh, look at her. She's so cute. Hey, that dating app isn't an app. It's a site.
Yeah.
It's like 2020.dating, and there's not a .com or hey, hippos, look. Hey, look.
Look at that. These hippos. The Metro Richmond Zoo released a video of a baby pygmy hippo's first swim. It's so cute. The zoo says the female calf was born on July 26th. She's the first pygmy hippo to be born at the zoo and also the first to be born in the state of Virginia.
Pygmy hippos are rare and endangered. Survival more certain in zoological parks. That's one of the reasons the calf's arrival this summer was so important and so special.
Yeah. Get away from the site.
Away from the site. No, I'm not going on there.
I'm just kidding with you.
What did you say? The 20-year age gap is hard for you to comprehend because?
Okay, so I didn't mention it earlier. It's hard for me to imagine because I have a 6-year age gap.
With your husband?
With my husband. I'm older than him. I can't imagine anyone younger.
But you guys aren't dating anymore. You're married. So
well, yeah, so it doesn't count?
No, it does. It does. But you guys have made it work.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mark.
Katie's here now and still tracking Hurricane Laura. I've been off all week. I'm still catching up.
No, that's okay. I kind of wish we're still a tropical storm.
Yeah.
This is looking like a big time, life-threatening situation for portions of far east Texas and western Louisiana. So Laura now is a major hurricane. That means a Category 3 or above, and that is where Laura moved up to this morning with winds crossing that 111-mile-per-hour threshold. Unfortunately, it does look like Laura could intensify even more during the day today, and just those waters in the Gulf are so warm, and that helps these tropical systems to intensify. So before landfall, we could see Laura jump up to Category 4 hurricane status. However, it's looking like as the system nudges close to land, we'll be back down to Category 3. At that point, it really doesn't matter. Still a life-threatening hurricane approaching parts of the Gulf Coast today, and this is just never what you want to see on satellite in the Gulf of Mexico, a major hurricane barreling toward the Gulf Coast. Winds now 115 miles per hour, gusts up to 130. Movement is northwest at 15 miles per hour. So keep an eye on the eye of Laura. Movement to the northwest there versus due north. So We're going to get brand new data at 10 a.m. So right at the end of this newscast, we'll see if Laura has made it up to Category 4 hurricane status and if the track changes at all. Now, the Hurricane Center has been pretty steady with this track so far this week. I don't anticipate any big changes either way in the track. We're still looking at landfall. There's the state line there, the Texas-Louisiana state line. So we're looking at landfall very near the state line overnight tonight. Again, Category 3 hurricane approaching the Gulf Coast overnight tonight. Hurricane warnings are out from just east of Houston over to near Lake Charles and then in far western Louisiana. So as you saw, we've got Justin in Port Arthur. He's going to be in and around Port Arthur today, moving up to the orange area, which is very near the Texas-Louisiana state line later today. So he's going to be able to provide live updates for us as Laura inches closer to the Gulf Coast. Here's a visible satellite view. So we've got that kind of traditional looking satellite here, the white cloud cover of Hurricane Laura out in the Gulf of Mexico. Some outer rain bands starting to approach portions of the Gulf Coast. We've got a little bit of rain on radar here locally. This not technically, though, from Laura. The circulation around Laura is helping to push some of these showers off to the west and closer to I-35. They've kind of been fizzling out over the past hour or so, but nonetheless, we've got a nice little broken line of showers from western Lavaca County there all the way through eastern DeWitt County, approaching Highway 183 there as you get closer to Goliad. So the trend today is that these showers will continue to drift off to the west, and I can't rule out an isolated shower or non-severe storm getting to I-35 in and around San Antonio by this afternoon. However, this rain is going to be very, very hit or miss, especially as it moves farther to the west toward I-35. Now, if you're in Hallettsville down to Goliad, you've got a much better chance of seeing some off and on showers during the day today. The rest of us, as you get to 35, New Braunfels down to San Antonio, especially off to the west, it's going to be much harder to get any rain today, but a couple of isolated showers are certainly not out of the question. We get into tomorrow, Laura moving to the north through Louisiana. We'll be left with a little bit of leftover energy there and some moisture, and that could result in a couple more isolated showers as we get into the day tomorrow. But I do think today is probably our best chance to see a little bit of rain. 85 now at the airport, feeling like 89. Check out the heat index in Beeville. It's already at 100 degrees with an air temperature of 88. Got a lot of moisture out there. Our dew points are in the 60s, 70s, east of 35, so it'll be staying fairly muggy throughout the day today. Hot as well with a high temperature around 97 here in the Alamo City. We're up to 88 by lunchtime, so overall hot and humid today, but we do have those chances of some isolated showers and non-severe storms sprinkled in. Again, keep in mind, better chances east of 35. Looking ahead to the weekend, generally just hot, but we could see a couple more isolated thunder showers by Sunday. Guys,
we'll be prepared for the heat.
Thank you, Katie Blake. 947, 85 degrees.
And we take a look at today's 9 at 9 next.
Let's take a look at stocks right now, and they are down about 47 points at 28,201.
And welcome back. It's 9:51. As protests in cities across the country continue, the San Antonio City Council taking action on use of police force here at home.
And of course, we're tracking Hurricane Laura. San Antonio was expecting to receive about 300 hurricane evacuees. That number, as of about an hour ago, already up to over 1,400, with more to come. But those are just some of the people bracing for or on the move because of Laura. Here's today's 9 at 9.
This morning, millions in the path of Hurricane Laura are bracing for landfall. Coastal areas bracing for up to 13 feet of storm surge. Families from Texas to Louisiana now scrambling to get to safety.
Protesters back on the street of Kenosha, Wisconsin. They're demanding action for Jacob Blake, who was hospitalized after getting shot by police at close range in front of his 3 sons.
Police in Kentucky arrested dozens of protesters demanding action in the death of Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor was killed by police in March when they were serving a no-knock warrant at her home. The San Antonio City Council will discuss possible bans on police use of neck restraints and no-knock warrants. District 2 Councilwoman Jada Andrews Sullivan and the Public Safety Committee voted to send the 2 requests to the full council. The requests come amid nationwide calls for police reform.
Police in Central Texas say a body found near Fort Hood is likely that of a soldier that disappeared last week. Late last night, Temple police said that identification found with the body indicates the man may be missing Fort Hood soldier Elder Fernandez. Fernandez, the 3rd soldier from Fort Hood to vanish in the past year.
On day 2 of the RNC, the First Lady taking center stage. Speaking from the White House Rose Garden, Melania Trump was one of the few speakers to address recent racial unrest and the COVID-19 pandemic.
New studies show the risk of spreading and contracting COVID-19 on planes is actually very low.
The filter systems in modern planes replace the air you breathe with new fresh air every 2 to 3 minutes. And most planes are fitted with air filter systems designed to trap 99.99% of particles.
Frito-Lay is recalling barbecue-flavored potato chips that may contain undeclared milk products. The company says it happened when barbecue chip bags were accidentally filled with another flavor. The incorrect bags went out to more than 10 states. Is your computer slowing down due to those zillions of tabs you've got open? You're not alone, and Google's got your back. The company is rolling out an update to its Chrome browser. It says will make tabs load 10% faster.
Or close some of those tabs. Hey, an update on time saver traffic. We have an incident out there, 410 at Cherry Ridge. Police are on the scene, and we were just showing you a stalled vehicle. There it is, police on the scene, 410 westbound there at Cherry Ridge. We have at least 3, I think maybe 4 vehicles pulled over into that left shoulder out there. Looks like there was some sort of incident, but again, police are now on the scene. Hope to get all that cleared up as soon as possible. Katie.
Things have changed with Laura even since we last spoke a couple minutes ago. Still a Category 3, but a high-end Category 3. It's only 5 miles per hour away now from being a Category 4. And the latest track from the Hurricane Center does take Laura up to a Category 4 hurricane later today as it approaches the Texas-Louisiana Gulf Coast. Landfall still expected late tonight. Again, our Justin Horn is there, and he's going to have coverage throughout the day today on the rest of our newscast. As far as our forecast here at home, very minimal impacts. You may notice a few more high clouds today, and we'll also have a low chance of some isolated showers today into tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you, Katie. I heard yesterday that KFC was dropping its slogan, finger looking good.
Yes.
I didn't know it was temporary, but it is a temporary thing. They say it just doesn't feel right.
Not right now.
Not considering we're not supposed to be touching our faces and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
They admitted their 64-year-old tagline doesn't quite work as well at a time when officials have urged us not to touch our faces to stop the coronavirus from spreading.
And that's something I learned from this article. I didn't realize it was this tagline is 64 years old.
Yep. Yeah. KFC made the change official with a 30-second ad showing the words finger licking blurred out on the billboard and chicken buckets. The company emphasized that its food isn't changing. The slogan will return when the time is right.
So we will see that. So KFC ultimately pulled the ad, which some people feared would encourage behavior that could spur the spread of COVID-19.
This week's tongue-in-cheek marketing ploy followed a tough quarter for KFC and their parent Yum Brands, which also owns Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. They suffered a 21% drop in same-store sales April through June of this year due to the pandemic. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, a lot of people making a lot of changes for many different reasons right now.
But apparently we're seeing a rebound in sales, and a lot of retail stores now starting to reopen. It's 95% of their stores now open.